What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Trey. Today we're going to be covering 10 foods that make anxiety worse. So go ahead and smash the like button down below if you're ready to kick anxiety in the butt. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you struggle with cutting these things out. You are not alone, okay? If you've had success cutting these things out, all right, and you've seen benefits or improvements, share that too. Don't just share the bad stuff, share the good stuff too. Guys, if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. I got hundreds of videos to help you with your anxiety. And if you need extra help with anxiety, check out my description in the first pinned comment down below. Tons of other resources to help you even further. So guys, when it comes to the foods that we eat, overall, right, we're supposed to be healthy, right? We're trying to be healthy. That should be our goal, right? But when you have anxiety, it should be even more of a urgency to be healthier, to cut certain things that are triggering your anxiety out of your life, or at least work on reducing them. A lot of these foods that I'm going to cover, or consumables in general, they may have not really bothered you too much before. But you have to understand, now that you have anxiety, you're very sensitive to not only sensations, to noises, to symptoms. You're very sensitive to the food and the things that are going into your body, okay? You're going to feel it even more so. And if these things are triggering you, it's going to hurt you with your chances of recovery, because how are you going to work on some of these deeper issues in your thought processes if you're eating stuff and consuming stuff that's just causing panic or, exaggerated symptoms, right? So we want to start cutting some of these things out of our life. Also, guys, 90% of your serotonin is actually produced in your gut, so you need a healthy environment. You need a good and bad bacteria balance. A probiotic is good to take daily, a multivitamin. Drink just water, stay hydrated, and a well-balanced diet. I'm gonna have a video in the near future covering some of those things. Also some foods that are gonna be good for your anxiety. But let's start with just cutting some of the bad stuff out and see if you can get some results. Now the first one, guys, is a big one. And a lot of you are like, yes, alcohol. Yeah. I ran into a problem with this stuff, guys. I was drinking before my anxiety disorder really got into gear and before I started having panic attacks. It got even worse when I had anxiety. You'd think I'd cut it out, right? As it being one of the triggers that started the whole thing, along with many other things that was going on in my life. But I started to drink it even more because it seemed to be the only thing that would shut this thing down. Then it was able to help me be more numb to my symptoms. I didn't have panic attacks. It's sad to say, but I felt normal when I drank. And this turned into a vicious cycle. Started drinking every single day. The problem with this, not only was I putting off my recovery and not handling my negative thoughts or my issues or resolving anything, I would have horrible anxiety hangovers the next day. And some of you know what this is like. You drink, you feel good, you're like, oh, a break. The next morning, living hell. You're dehydrated, you have regular hangover symptoms, and your anxiety comes back tenfold. I had tons of panic attacks. All my symptoms were in full gear. Eventually, I had to cut that out of my life. Now, if you're a heavy drinker like I was, talk to a doctor, consider a taper plan. The last thing I want you to do is to quit cold turkey and then you have some severe withdrawal symptoms or even dangerous withdrawal symptoms. So talk to your doctor if you're a heavy drinker. And we're talking about people that are drinking like probably more than 6, 7, 8 beers a night. I was drinking over 12 beers a night, sometimes even more. So that's how bad my issue was. I'm not afraid to go there and be honest. The next one, guys, caffeine. Some of you aren't into the alcohol, but you're all about your coffee, okay? So when I say caffeine, it's not just coffee, okay? We're talking about teas. And if you're drinking sweet tea, okay, now you got sugar and the caffeine. We're talking about energy drinks. One of the worst things you can do if you have anxiety is to drink an energy drink or a pre-workout, okay? Cut those things out of your life, all right? Soda, another one. Some of you just have issues with soda. Also, a lot of sugar that we're gonna cover in just a minute. And obviously the caffeine, not good for you. And it's calorie packed. So get the caffeine out of your life. That stuff caused me a lot of panic attacks. I was stubborn, so I wanted to keep drinking my coffee, and I was drinking a lot of soda at the time. But eventually I realized it's just not worth it, and I feel like crap when I'm done consuming it. So get those things out of your life. Now, with caffeine withdrawal, it's not really dangerous, okay? I will say this. When I had to quit coffee, I felt tired and sluggish for a few days, and the first day I had some minor headaches. But some of you that probably drink more coffee than I did, the headaches will probably last a little bit longer and you may feel a little off. And don't be surprised, guys, when you cut some of these things out of your life, if your anxiety actually heightens a little bit for a few days, okay? Because your subconscious is gonna show some resistance when you quit any type of addiction, whether it be alcohol, tobacco, sugar, any of those things. So, speaking on sugar, here we go. I got a big old bag of sugar. This stuff is in everything, so it's kind of hard. Natural sugar is the best way to go. But the problem with sugar, guys, is you have sugar highs and sugar lows. You know, you get the sugar crash, right? So when you're on a sugar high, you feel more panicky, more jittery, probably a little lesser extent than the caffeine. However, everybody's different, reacts to things differently. But when you're on a sugar crash, you're going to have more feelings of depression. You're going to be sluggish. You're going to be tired. You're going to take more unnecessary naps. You're going to feel more fatigued. And, you know, you get your highs and your lows. And since you're sensitive to the sugar now, more so than you ever have been in your life, or before you didn't really notice this stuff, not on this level, now you are feeling those effects even more so. So work on cutting some of the sugar out. That's probably one of the hardest things because there's sugar in everything. You don't want to have zero sugar. You need some sugar, right? But let's cut out some of the unnecessary or unhealthy sources of sugar. Dairy. Let's see what I got here. I got some cheese. Everybody loves cheese. We're talking about milk. We're talking about sour cream. We're talking about yogurt. Dairy, this is one of those things I would play with. It's not necessarily good for your anxiety, and it's an inflammatory. It didn't agree with my stomach, so it caused a lot of IBS symptoms. If you have IBS, really consider reducing or cutting this out, okay? Dairy's not one of the easiest things. This is kind of one of the wild cards. Some people want to have issues with dairy, but I find in a lot of people it does trigger their anxiety. So dairy, try to reduce that and try to excess sodium. This is another one, okay? Now, hear me out, because I think in the past, whenever I've said cut out some of your sodium, everybody like crucified me and said, well, you need some salt. I never said cut it all out, okay? Obviously, you need some salt. It's necessary for your body. I'm talking about things like added salt. I would add salt to everything. It makes you retain more fluid, more water. It's not good for you. It's not good on your organs. But one of the biggest things it did for me was raise my blood pressure. So a lot of fried foods, a lot of foods that were packed with sodium, my blood pressure would go up and then I'd feel triggered, okay? So work on the excess salt. Now this is another one that people don't think about. Dressings and condiments, ketchup. Tons of sugar is in this stuff. And if you hear the thunder behind me, there's a thunderstorm closing in, okay? Lots of sugar in the stuff, a lot of unnecessary chemicals like MSG and a lot of dressings. Start to cut down on that stuff. If I had a suggestion for dressings, things like oils, right? Olive oil is a good replacement. So something to think about with that. The next one is juices, another one that's very deceiving. Now, if you have a juicer and you're making your own natural juices, that's different. But look what I got here, apple juice, right? We may think that things like orange juice and apple juice are good for us. Tons of sugar. It is packed with sugar. This is crazy. Let me look at this. 28 grams of sugar per serving. And that's just a little glass. That's a lot of sugar. You don't need that whenever you're trying to get over your anxiety. The next one is sweets. Look what I got for you here, guys. I know some of you are like, this is torture. Zebra cakes. This is like one of my favorite snacks. By the way, I have 3 kids. This is why I have all this stuff. I'm not just sitting over here cramming zebra cakes in my mouth or drinking my wife's Trulies. But anyways, zebra cakes, we're talking about, you know, anything, right? Anything that's processed, that's sweet, dessert, a lot of sugar, right? It's not good for us. I know for some of you that's going to be very, very hard. But I do have an alternative. Dark chocolate in small amounts have actually been studied and proven to help out a little bit with your mental health and your anxiety. So if you want to get some special dark chocolate like Hershey's and have a few squares every night, try that out, okay? That could be beneficial and maybe it can help curb that craving a little bit, okay? So sweets. The next one, cereal. And I know this kind of falls under sweets and sugary stuff, but the reason I want to talk about this is because a lot of you are starting your freaking day with cereal or something else, like donuts, right? If you have anxiety, the most important meal of the day is going to be probably your breakfast, unless you're doing any type of intermittent fasting. You need to be eating things like bananas or rolled oats or something like that with berries. That's really good for anxiety and your mental health. But this cereal stuff is junk, okay? It's processed. It's just nothing but sugar. You got to get that out of your life, okay? So stop starting your day off with unhealthy foods. And last but not least is fast food, okay? Mickey D's, Burger King, Taco Bell. This is pretty self-explanatory. Calorie-packed, no real nutritional value at all. And this is one of the most frustrating things. I loved my fast food when I was trying to recover from my anxiety. So McDonald's and Burger King were like my go-to. There's so many good ones, right? I can go on and on and on and torture you guys with all that goodness. But it was a real struggle. It was something that I loved to do. I loved to go grab some fast food. Luckily, my metabolism was good, so it wasn't like it made me big or fat or anything like that. But now when I ate a burger and fries, I just felt sick, basically. And it's like I was so sensitive to these things. My heart rate would go up even more. My blood pressure would go up. After a big meal of some of these things that I've just discussed, I just felt like I was on the verge of a heart attack, which I wasn't, you know, but it just made me feel that way. So a lot of these foods really, really triggered me. I want you guys to at least work on cutting some of these things out. Just at least work on it and see if you see some improvements. It's not easy doing it. You're going to have some resistance from your subconscious when you quit anything that you've been doing for a long time. That's just life. That's how it works. But you got to think about, you know, is it worth it in the long run? And I think, yes, your mental health should be like your #1 priority right now. But like I said, I'm going to have a video covering some foods that are good for anxiety as well. But I think it's always good to just start cutting out some of the bad stuff first. So I hope you enjoyed this. I like doing the little visual videos where I can have something here to share. But remember, guys, if you haven't yet subscribe, okay? I have hundreds of videos that can help you with your anxiety. Again, leave a comment. Let me know if you struggle with cutting any of these foods out. If you want to share anything else, just do it down below. That's what the comment section is for. Again, the description has tons of info. There's Facebook communities to join. They're free. Join those. There's tons of other social media platforms that I'm on. Join those as well, just to have additional help and to find my videos on those platforms. Therapy and coaching, all that info is down below as well. Guys, keep fighting, keep being proactive, keep on working on cutting these things out of your life. It's just not easy to recover when you're triggered all the freaking time. So yeah, I'm not saying that some of you guys can't have cheat days or indulge in a few of these things way down the road, but right now let's worry about what's important, okay? And that's getting your mind right? Okay, so I love y'all. I will talk to you soon. Until next time, keep fighting.